Hello, good evening, everybody. I hope you're all doing well, and it's so good to have with me today another of my friends. Let me introduce Corina to you. She is one of the wonderful leadership coaches who've been in Dubai before, but now she's moved to the UK. And today she's joined me from the UK to talk about hypnotherapy and hypnosis and how it helps business owners in improving their performance. Hi, Corina, how are you?
Hi, Nousheen. I'm very well, thank you. And thank you for inviting me here today. It's great to be with you and to talk to you and see you again.
Thank you. You're welcome. I hope you're having a good summer in the UK these days.
Well, so far it's been quite good. You know, of course, I'm from Dubai, so even the good weather is cold for me. As you can see, I have my jersey.
Yes, I can see that. That's why I said.
Exactly.
But it's nice.
But I have to say, it's been actually not too bad. The whole of May was really sunny, so I kind of think, yeah, this is UK welcoming me.
It's very hot here these days.
So yeah.
So let's start with hypnotherapy. Tell me more about it. I don't know much, so I'd like to be enlightened tonight.
Okay. Well, you know, hypnosis really is, you know, people think it's this magical secret thing. And although it seems like magic, it really isn't. So, you know, we use hypnosis, not even we use it, but hypnosis is a very natural state that we go in and out of on a daily basis. So it's a natural human state that we don't even realize. So, for example, you know, when you're driving in a car and you go from A to B and you go, oh, how did I get here? You're in a state of hypnosis because your conscious, critical, analytical mind has kind of switched off and your subconscious mind has kind of taken over. So you're still conscious, you're totally aware, but your critical mind is somewhere else and the driving just happens automatically. However, if something would happen, like, you know, another car comes in front of you or a child, you're immediately, you're straight there and you're conscious and your critical mind sets in again. And, you know, you're totally aware of what's going on. So it's a state that we go in and out of several times a day. In fact, you know, like, for example, at nighttime when you're about to fall asleep and you're in that space between sleep and being awake and you're very, very relaxed, that is a state of hypnosis. When you're watching a movie and you're totally focused on what's going on there and everything else just sort of fades into the background, you know that there's people there and there's cameras there and there's all sorts of things, but you're so focused on this movie and you get involved in the movie and the emotions of the movie sort of become a part of your experience. That's a state of hypnosis. So it's a part of what we do anyway. The power of hypnosis, though, is that we can use this state for our benefit and well-being. So when we can tap into that state of complete relaxation and focused, effortless concentration, then we can make huge changes for ourselves that are very, very beneficial for many, many things, for our business, for our well-being, for whatever goals that we want to achieve.
How can we consciously be in a state of consciousness?
A state of relaxation. Did I say a state of consciousness? A state of relaxation and focused concentration. So you become, so when I'm working with my clients, for example, when we're in a state of stress, our critical analytical brain shuts down and we can't think very well. So for example, you know, if you're trying to remember something, yeah, and somebody is poking you and going, hey, tell me now, and you'll go, oh, I can't remember. because you're in a state of stress, yeah? And it's like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I can't remember. However, you walk away, you do something else, and suddenly whatever that was pops back into your mind very easily, and you just remember it, yeah, because you're relaxed. So when we're in a state of stress, we're not functioning in our best. But when we are in a relaxed state, then we can do all sorts of things. And when we can focus in that relaxed state, then we can tap into, you know, whatever it is that we're trying to tap into. So, for example, if we're trying to remember something, we can really focus on that. And then when we come out of that state, then it's easy for us to remember. It's easy for us to do those things that we're trying to do. Does that make sense? Better
Yes, it does.
sense?
Yeah. Definitely. So, how can we improve on our strengths using hypnotherapy and
Well,
find?
you know, let me show you an experience of how powerful our mind really is. Okay? So I'd like you to just, for a moment, just take a nice deep breath for me. And just close your eyes for a moment, if you will. Okay. So I'd like you to imagine now that you're going into your kitchen. And,
All right.
and as you're going into your kitchen, you're going towards your fridge. And just tell me, what is the color of your fridge?
Gray.
Gray. Lovely. And I want you just to imagine now that you're opening your fridge. And as you're opening your fridge, you can feel that wave of cold air as it just sort of goes over your face and body, right? And I want you to just imagine you putting your hand into the fridge, and maybe you can even feel the coldness of the air on your hand. And I want you to imagine that in your fridge, there is a big lemon, a really big, juicy lemon. And you're going to take this lemon out of the fridge. Yeah?
All right. I have quite a few.
Sorry?
I have quite a few in the fridge.
Okay, good. So I just want you to take one. Just take one lemon. And this lemon, it's a really big, juicy lemon with a really thick yellow skin. And you can almost smell that scent of the lemon as you're taking it out of the fridge. And maybe it even has still the sticks and the leaves on it. And so I want you to take that lemon out of the fridge and walk over to your counter. And I want you to take out a chopping board and a knife. And I want you to put that lemon down on the counter and just rub that lemon, sort of put some pressure on it. And sort of all the juices are being released within that lemon. And all the little pips are going to the center of that lemon. And now I want you to take that knife and I want you to cut open that lemon. And as you cut open the lemon, the juices are kind of going over your hand, and you can really smell that lemon. And maybe you can even notice right now that your mouth is watering and you can almost taste that lemon in your mouth, right?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay. So you can open your eyes now and you can just experience that even though what I was telling you wasn't actually real, but you were experiencing something that wasn't even there. So
I was imagining the whole thing.
Sorry?
I was imagining the whole thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's the way hypnosis works. We're using the power of our imagination. And even by just thinking about something that's not actually there, we are creating an experience. We are creating thoughts and feelings. And your mouth was actually, getting the saliva in the mouth because of you're almost tasting that and experiencing it. And so in the same way, when we're thinking about other things like, business success or non-business success, we're spending so much time thinking about how we're not being successful and how we're not being confident and how we can't do this and how we should do this. And so in our minds, we are creating all those things and those emotions and feelings that we don't want. So when we go into a state of hypnosis and we're thinking of ourselves being successful and confident and creative, and we're imagining that, then we can create that outside of the hypnosis session as well. So when we're speaking, for example, about being confident or being, when you're doing public speaking, so many people really struggle with the public speaking because they go on there and they see themselves in this state of fear. They see themselves forgetting, oh my gosh, I'm going to forget what I want to say. Oh my gosh, everybody's going to judge me. That, and you've got all this stuff going on in your mind. But when you change that and you make that into something positive, into something that you can do and can achieve, then and you see yourself in a positive place, being successful, being confident, and you're practicing that through hypnosis, then that becomes your new reality. And so it's like the what's his name, Roger Bannister. He did the mile. Was it a 4-minute mile? So he ran a mile in 4 minutes, and he was the first person to break this record. And up to that point, nobody could ever do it, and everybody said it's not possible. It cannot be done. And he was kind of training on his own. He didn't have a coach. He was doing his own thing. And then I can't remember the dates exactly, but he broke the record. And suddenly, after he did that, everybody else was able to do it, because now suddenly within the mind of the athletes, this could be done. And, he didn't do it by thinking about all of these messages that he was being told. You can't do it. It's not possible. Nobody in history has ever done this before. He focused on the fact that he can do it. He was going to do it. And he visualized himself doing this. And this is what so many sports people do as well. They visualize themselves. They practice it in their mind. So business is the same. It's about mindset. It's about confidence. It's about how we think and feel about ourselves and about our work. And that's why hypnosis is so powerful in this setting, because we can do anything that we set our minds to.
True. Wow. Interesting. Very interesting. Somebody with the name Engineer Rasim Mahmood has said, do you think getting into this state of concentration is a disease? I don't think so.
Why would it be a disease? No, it's a wonderful, powerful tool that we as humans have at our disposal, and we are all capable of it. We all have this wonderful natural resource, and we all focus, we all concentrate on something at some time. Even anxiety, for example, it's a state of focused concentration, but we're using our imagination to focus on negative things and on fear instead of positive things and success. So no, the state of concentration is a wonderful natural ability that we have as humans, and we're born with it. We're all born with it. As children, you're that little girl that's playing with her tea set in the garden with the queen, having a tea party, or the boys that are being Superman. That's the power of your imagination. It's the power of concentration and effortless focus that we can use for whatever we set our minds to. And, as you experienced with the lemon experiment, we can all go into that state of effortless, focused concentration.
Yes. So how can we foster a state of well-being through developing this habit of concentrating and developing our focus?
Well, again, in terms of well-being, if we just take like a few minutes every day to get ourselves into a relaxed position and focus on our breathing and focus on visualizing a state of calmness, a state of relaxation, a state of well-being. You know, if, for example, you know, if you're just closing your eyes and thinking about being in your favorite place, that could be, for example, it could be a beach, or it could be a beautiful mountain somewhere, or a forest, or wherever it is that you feel totally comfortable, totally at ease, where nobody wants anything, nobody expects anything. And you can do this kind of calm visualization on a daily basis. And it just needs to take 5 or 10 minutes. Of course, it can take up to however long you want it to take. But just doing that is a very, very powerful tool to help you feel better, feel more focused, feel more in control.
Yeah. Do you think it's pretty much like meditation?
Yes, I mean, I would say it is very much like meditation. And again, you know, we can use it in different ways. So obviously, when I'm working with a client, you know, we're working specifically to reach a particular goal, and I will use other things depending on what the client wants and depending on what the client tells me in the session. But you know, if we're using it on a day-to-day basis, we can use it like a type of meditation. You know, when we're focusing on our breathing and when we're focusing on the visualization, that definitely is very similar to meditation. Except when I'm working with a client, I make positive suggestions that they want. So when we're in hypnosis, as I explained earlier, your critical analytical mind is kind of taking a rest. So it's almost like your mind is open to suggestions. So when you're in this very calm, relaxed state, and I'm making the suggestions to you of health, of well-being, of success, of confidence, your mind is absorbing those suggestions that I am making for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. You know why I mentioned meditation? Because I felt that when you were talking about hypnosis, it could be something people might need guidance with. But when we say it's more like meditation, people can do it on their own as well.
Absolutely. And, you know, in reality, hypnosis, we say actually all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. So even with my clients, I will guide them into the state, but they are doing it themselves. And so one of the things I teach my clients is self-hypnosis, so that we can practice this and do this for ourselves.
Okay. All right. All right. Good, great. So how can we build confidence using hypnosis?
Again, you know, one of the best ways to use confidence is how much time do we have? Because I could easily show you another technique. Sorry?
We have all the time.
We have all the time.
Share techniques so that people feel that the session was amazing for them and they really learned something.
Okay, brilliant. So I'm going to share a technique with you, which was developed by a colleague of mine by the name of Derek Chapman. And it's called the Russian dolls technique. Now, do you know what a Russian doll is? You know these? Hang on, there we are, the Russian dolls.
Yes. I know these dolls.
Yeah? Okay, great. So what I'm going to ask you to do is, and everybody that's watching us can join in on this exercise. It's a little bit longer than the last one, so it'll take maybe about 5 to 8 minutes, yeah?
Okay.
5
to 8?
Yeah. So,
okay.
What I'd like you to do is I would like you to, normally I would ask you to stand, and, you know, whoever's watching us can actually stand. But if it's difficult for you to stand, then you can sit. And what I'd like you to do is I would like you to have 3 positions. So I need you to move. So if you're in this position, and then you can maybe move into this position, and then you can maybe move into another position, okay? So we have 3 positions. So position 1, position 2, and position 3. Yeah? Okay. And what I'd like you to do right now is just get into position 1. And when you're in position 1, you are like this teeny, where is it? This teeny tiny little Russian doll. Okay? So I want you to, again, close your eyes just for a moment. And I want you to imagine whatever the problem is. So maybe you don't feel confident. Maybe you feel that you can't be successful. Maybe you're scared that you can't do whatever it is that you want to do. Whatever your problem is, I want you to really think about that problem right now. And I want you to really get the feeling. Imagine that you are there right now, feeling that feeling, noticing when you're feeling this problem, what is going on in your mind? What are you seeing? What are you hearing? And I want you to really just feel and notice that in your chest and in your stomach. Perhaps you can feel your heart beating or your stomach getting tight or your hands beginning to shake as you're noticing this feeling of fear, of lack of confidence, of, oh my gosh, I'm not going to remember this. And just really, really be there right now. And just on a scale of 1 to 10, or make it 0 to 10, where 0 means I have nothing at all, and 10 means this is very, very high. I feel very stressed, very anxious about that. Just tell me where you are on that scale right now.
On 6.
You're on 6. Okay. So you can really feel that fear, yes? And maybe you can even notice when you're in this situation, what you're wearing. What are people saying to you? What are you saying to yourself? Yeah? Okay. Yeah. So are you still on a 6, or where are you on that scale right now?
Oh, I went to 7 now.
Okay, good. Brilliant. So I'd like you to now just open your eyes. Open your eyes. Okay. And now I want you to think of something completely different. Think about what you're going to have for dinner tonight. Think about something.
I'm thinking about the chocolate cake in the fridge.
Oh, chocolate cake in the fridge is good. I like that one. Excellent. And I want you to give yourself a bit of a shake. Chuk, chuk, chuk. Just shake yourself down a bit. Excellent. Yes, very good. Okay. And now on a scale of 0 to 10, where are you on that scale now?
Yeah, I feel a little bit lighter. Like at 5, somewhere around 5 and 4.
Okay, so you've good. So you've gone down from a 7 to about a 5, or maybe a 4. Excellent, brilliant. Now I want you to go to position 2. Go to position 2, and in position 2, you are the medium-sized dog. Yeah,
okay,
the middle dog. Okay, so once again, I want you to close your eyes.
All right.
And now I want you to think of all your proudest achievements. I want you to think about everything that you've done that you're really, really proud of. Maybe it's your son, because I know how important he is to you, and you're so proud of this child. Maybe it's what you've done in your business and how successful you've been. And maybe it's exams that you've passed, and you just feel so good about yourself. And again, I want you to really get into that feeling. And I can see how you're smiling because you're feeling so different already. And notice how your chest feels and how your stomach feels. And notice perhaps what you're wearing and what are people saying to you? How are they complimenting you? Just hear those voices and really, really get into that feeling. See what you see. Notice what you hear. And I can see it's good because you've got a great big smile on your face already. And
yeah, I'm feeling good about it.
Yeah, excellent. Very good. Very good. And again, I want you now to just open your eyes.
Okay.
Brilliant. Excellent. And tell me on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you right now?
No, I felt very good when I was thinking about my achievements,
Excellent. So I want you to notice just those subtle differences. Perhaps you're sitting taller. Perhaps you're feeling lighter. Perhaps you're feeling unstoppable right now, right?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, brilliant. And now we're going to do the third one. The big
I
doll.
changed my position. All right.
Exactly. Position number 3. Wonderful. You're doing great. You're doing such a good job. And again, I want you this time to close your eyes again. And this time, once you're ready, close your eyes. I want you to take everything from doll number 2, the middle-sized doll, and I want you to make it bigger. I want you to make it bolder. I want you to make it stronger, the colors brighter, the sounds louder. Just make everything much, much bigger, brighter, louder, and really get into that feeling once again. Just feel those feelings. Notice what you feel.
I love thinking about my achievements.
Oh,
Seriously.
wonderful. Of course. Everybody loves to think about their achievements. And it's such a great thing that we can do that, right? So,
And Barak loves it too.
wonderful. I'm so glad Barak is doing this with us. This is great for you, Barak, and you just keep doing it. Okay. So when you've really got those feelings as big as they can be, as loud as they can be, as wonderful and bright, those colors are really bright in your mind. And once you're ready and you're really feeling those wonderful, positive emotions, then I want you just to open your eyes again and notice how you feel now.
Yeah, it feels good.
Wonderful. So on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you on that scale right now?
On the top.
On the top. Wonderful. Wonderful. Now we get to the fun bit. So what I want you to do now is I want you to take all these feelings that you have right now, and I want you to imagine, and you can close your eyes if you want to, I want you to imagine taking these feelings and taking them with you and going back to position number 2. So move back to position number 2, taking all these great feelings with you. Wonderful. In position number 2, pick up all those wonderful feelings again. Right. And then go back to position number 1. So all your feelings from number 3 and number 2, everything is with you. Okay. Yes. You're going back to position number 1. And this time, I want you to squash that doll, that little doll that doesn't like to feel good and that feels not confident and scared and all of these. Squash it. You can squash it with your feet. You can squash it with your hands. You can, I don't know how you're going to squash it. You can just get rid of that little tiny doll completely so it doesn't exist anymore. And once you've done that, let me know.
Okay, done that.
Excellent. Brilliant. And now tell me how you feel.
I feel much lighter. I feel happy, actually. Very happy.
And can you find those feelings that you had before?
Yeah.
The negative ones, I don't find them anymore. I'm a little bit elated, I want to go jumping.
Excellent. Wonderful. Wonderful. And so I'd like you just to imagine if you can live in that big Russian doll all the time. How would that be?
That would be a lot of fun. I'll be hyper all the time.
Absolutely. And you can be in that Russian doll and you can look back and you can see yourself stepping out, looking back and seeing how much change you've made now, how much more positive, how much more confident, and what you can actually achieve right now. So that is the power of your mind, and that is what you can do.
So we can always train our mind into thinking positive by reminding ourselves of all the good things that we have done, all the things that we've achieved, the differences we've made. This is what it means, right? So that is why we keep on stressing that everybody has to think positively and has to remind him or herself about all the good things that they've done.
Absolutely. And literally putting ourselves into that state. Because when we're doing the opposite, that's exactly what we're doing. We're putting ourselves into that negative state. So now, why not be the Russian doll and put yourself into that positive state, into that state of empowerment, of confidence, of positivity, of success. Because when we do that, we feel different. And when we feel different, we behave different. And then we also have the belief in ourselves. So does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. It does. I actually enjoyed the exercise.
It's brilliant, isn't it? It's wonderful.
Well, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling better, much happier than I was before when we started talking. So it was like, I went back in all those wonderful times that I loved and I brought them back to me.
Yes. Lovely.
So,
Lovely.
how can we lead better if
How
we
can
are
we?
continuously, yeah, if we practice hypnosis continuously, like, off and on, and bring ourselves into that wonderful state of elation where we feel good about ourselves, where we are thinking of all our achievements again and again, reminding that, oh, yeah, life is good, things are great, and we can make them even greater with more stuff. How does all of that help us into leading better as business owners?
Well, the thing is, when we are feeling, number one, when we're feeling good, when we're feeling confident, as I said a moment ago, excuse me, then the way that we behave, the way that we perform is completely different. When we are leading from a place of calmness, again, then we are leading with confidence and with kindness. We don't have to go into all this stress, these stressful things that we do,
Yeah.
So very often the stress comes out in things like anger, frustration, irritation, impatience, snapping at your co-workers or snapping at your partner, or maybe even shouting or being aggressive or communicating badly. These are all signs of of being in a stressful place. So when we
Yeah.
can actually lead with calmness, and we can take control of all of those uncontrolled feelings and thoughts, and then we can lead with optimism, with kindness, with empathy. But it all starts from the inside, and all of these things are things that we can practice. So what we've practiced now is maybe a little bit about confidence, about feeling good, but we can do the same thing related to our leadership skills. How do we practice those? How do we learn those? How do we get better at doing them? And when we're practicing things in our mind, because our mind does not know the difference between what is real and what is imagined, as we have just shown through the lemon experiment and the Russian dolls, your mind doesn't know the difference. So when you're practicing these things, then you can go back into the real world, and you can lead differently. You can lead more powerfully. You can be more empathetic. You can be
Let
yeah,
me use an example. Like, long time back, I used to wake up early in the morning and my back office in Pakistan used to ring me up telling me a list of problems early in the morning, 8 o'clock. And I was like, it's too early for all of this. Why you guys are telling me all the negative news in the beginning of the day? I've just
yeah,
woken up. So,
yeah.
in such a situation, what do you recommend for the boss to do?
Well, what difference would it make for you if you wouldn't read those messages first thing in the morning? What difference would it make for you if you had a different morning routine whereby, and this is actually really, really important. I was just talking about this on another webinar the other day, whereby you have a structure to your day that includes a morning routine whereby you actually focus on self-care. And whether that's self-hypnosis or whether that's meditation or visualization, incorporating some exercise, incorporating healthy eating and healthy habits, but actually focusing on self-care. Because once you do that, then, as I said earlier, then you are able, it's like that, when you're on an airplane and they always say to you, put the mask on yourself first and then help others. And that's exactly the same thing for leaders. And it's so, so important, creating these positive habits and, and structures around yourself and self-care. Because only when you do that and you look after yourself as a leader, then are you able to lead your team. So, for example, what difference would it have made for you if you would have said, okay, all those messages are coming through at 8, but from 8 till 8:30, actually, I'm focusing on myself. And at 8:30, then I will start to deal with all of those problems, because by that time, you have put yourself into a state of actually being able to deal with all those problems, rather than getting up and going, oh my God, all of this stuff. No, you're actually putting yourself into the right state to deal with them.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much, Corina, for amazing insights. And I love talking with you. I love the exercises. Let's do some more on a different day again and have more meaningful conversations helping people with their work, with the way they can become better business owners and leaders.
Brilliant. Lovely. Thank you very much, Nousheen. And I'm glad you enjoyed it. And I hope Barak enjoyed it too. He can keep
Yes,
practicing.
he's been doing it with us and speaking in the background all the time.
Yes, I can hear him. That's wonderful. So thank you very much and take care. And I'll see you again soon.
Take care. Bye. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.